Oops. Mm, 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 mm. Let's do this picture and let me see. Actually, there is. Hold on. Uh, yeah, just a second. And yeah, hold on. Yeah, no canned. Well, there is a canned theme song, but it's it's just kind of different. And whoops, wait, hold on. I'm gonna hide it there so you don't have to look at it. Oh, actually, everything's wrong. And then suddenly everything was wrong. Revised because I was, well, I'm just a little all over the map. Oh, revised because, no, no, I just made that up. I just made that up. I, I wouldn't be able to reproduce it. But yes, I was. I was singing. You were singing. But uh, I did figure out how to get some music in here. I'm going to try and turn myself down a little bit. I don't know. That might be annoying, but I just get the sense that I might be like super loud in your ear, and I don't want to do that. So, but hello, everyone. How are you? I did have a little, like I did this. Hold on, let me see, because this song is really nice. Maybe we should listen to a little music. We'll see what happens. It's low. I don't know. That doesn't seem very low. Maybe it is. Is that annoying or is that, can you hear that even? I'm not even sure. Maybe it doesn't. I never know how to do things. Huh, okay. I have no idea. Maybe I have to show it to you in order for it to play? I don't really get it. Can you hear music right now? I don't know. It's okay. Nothing really matters. Nothing's real. Doesn't really matter. Doesn't really matter. Oopsie. Here we go. Where am I? Oh dear, that's not what I want. There, that's what I want. Sorry. Um, yeah, if that's, I don't even know if you can hear that, but we'll just figure that out. That'll be fine. Um, I hope everyone had a good evening or a good day. I mean, well, and a good evening too. Let's see, today's Thursday. I keep thinking it's Friday, but it's not Friday. I'm kind of annoyed by that music. I don't want to. I don't want to have the music. Oh yeah, I've got to change that. Oh my goodness gracious. And then it turned out she wasn't ready at all. so there's that. And that's fine. And then I could do this. And I could edit that. And then this could happen. No, I should really, I know I've talked about this before, but I sure would like to write some music and, actually have it make sense. Let's see, this is Awakening Democracy ASMR with commentary. Oops, that's not spelled correctly. 18 plus. No worries. 22. Medic historical. Oops. Events. And quotes. And harsh language. Oops. Golly, I don't know how to spell. There we go. I think that I should say content warning too. I don't know what I'm doing, do I? Oh, me. Let's see. Let's do that. Content warning. There we go. That's a little better. There we go. Oopsie. Anyway. Life is so funny. I mean, it's not really. Well, it is. Actually, that's not true. It is, and then sometimes it isn't. But generally it is. Let's see. Today for me was a pretty good day. Let's see. Well, we spent some time together, I think some of us anyway, and watched, a lot of things that were kind of hard to watch, frankly, and then read things that were kind of hard to read. I feel like we learned some interesting things from the House Oversight Dems report, and I feel like I also learned a little more insight, or how do I want to put it? Kind of like a moment in time for hearing how Eric Prince speaks about things. And let's see, what else? And then also just pretty much great disappointment in how Lloyd Austin was treated by the Armed Services Committee. The Republicans, that is. I shouldn't say the Democrats were fine. Although they too sometimes said, well, you shouldn't have done that. That kind of, I don't know, it just didn't seem to serve a lot of purpose. So, but whatever, that's fine. We're in the age of humiliation, I guess. That's what people do. That's what people do now. I can, however, give us a beautiful evening to look at least. So let me do that. Hold on. And I'll bring that up. Let me first change a couple of things here. That's really not what I wanted. Oh, oops. No, that's not what I want. I don't really get this. How do I? Oh, okay. Sorry, I'm just trying to change it. Oh, okay. For some reason I can't. No problem. Anyway, no, that's right. I was finding a very nice nighttime campfire. Let's see if we can find a nice one. Boy, I liked that jungle last night. That was pretty nice. So sometimes they look really fake. I don't really like that. Oh, what's that? I wonder if this is any good. Oh, I'm kind of scared. Oh, no, 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 no. That's silly. Sometimes there's some very silly ones. Oh, this is nice. This is nice. Okay, there's something wrong with that. Okay. Here we go. All right. Let's find. Let's do this. Nighttime campfire. All right. That's better. That's a little better. You're back. Yeah, I can't seem to turn on subs only, but that's fine. I don't think it'll be. It's a pretty chill stream. So yeah, so today was good from that standpoint. I feel like I got some things accomplished and got some had some just like routine lab work and stuff to do this afternoon, which was fine. Yeah, just kind of status quo, doing the things, trying to put one foot in front of the other, just like everyone else. Trying to oh, actually, well, I am okay. So there's a couple things. First of all, tomorrow, instead of trivia, the Gal Squad and I will do dramatic reading of the Hunter Biden transcript. So I think I'm going to spend some of tomorrow going over and picking out some of the good parts of the transcript. But in the morning, I'm going to be live because I don't know exactly what time, but I'm assuming it's 7:30 Pacific, etc. There's supposed to be a Harrison Floyd hearing, I believe. Oh, no, forgive me, not Harrison Floyd. It's the Fonnie Willis, Nathan Wade issue, but it is oral arguments, I believe. So that's my understanding. I haven't been able to really confirm it, but my plan is to be live tomorrow morning and see if that is happening. And then spend time just figuring out what parts of the pretty lengthy Hunter Biden transcript would be fun to listen to with Gal and Jay Rance, and hopefully it'd be fun if we could get like Jim, or because there's a lot of parts. There's a lot of parts. So it'd be good to have a lot of voices. And let's see what else. Then, I think I got my computer issue fixed to some degree. I just have to set some things up so I can do gaming. Yeah. And so I'm going to try that this weekend. I kind of want to watch that Descent movie, which was about, oh shit. Oh my God, I'm so silly. We were talking about it. And now I can't remember. I have 10 in this setting, and then I think I can bring in Discord. Oh, in a space. Yes, there is. It is usually 3 hosts and I want to say 10 or 11 speakers. So like I think the top number of actual microphones in a space is like 15, but no more than that. You know what I mean? So maybe more like 13 or 14. Maybe 13. So, but that's for a space. Yeah. Yep. We could do it in a space too. I have no problem either way. I probably this time, oh, whichever platform. Yep. Yeah, I should be able to have enough spots in both on either setting. So I think it'll work. And I think I did some, well, I didn't do it. Bobo did it, but I think she finagled with my computer and fixed some stuff. So I love my daughter. She's very smart. Yeah. But the plan is to do it on YouTube just at the same time as the lounge. So nothing terribly fancy other than that. I'll try and incorporate a space though, because it'd be fun for people that like to listen on spaces and not YouTube or vice versa. So that seems like a good idea. Seems like a good idea. And so, the end is near, and so I face the final curtain. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Oh, that's a hard one. Lost my voice there. Um, oh, do you have a preference? The other piece to that is we're going to share Hunter. So anybody who wants an opportunity to play Hunter, we will happily share because everyone should have an opportunity to be Hunter, or I don't know, Jimmy Comer, I don't know, whoever you want to be. But it's a big enough table. So yeah, that'd be great. I would love that. Let's have some fun. Oh, purely logistics. Got it. Oh, come on. Come on. You want to do it. Very fun. No pressure. Oh God. You could try. Maybe you need a voice changer. You should put up an Amazon wish list. Then you could get a voice changer. Sorry. I couldn't resist. Anyway, I'm just kidding. Over at Dinos. Thanks, Tom. Thanks for checking in. Thanks for checking in. Thanks for checking in. Thank you, my friend. Thanks for checking in. Just checking in. Doing best to prevent Amazon knowing who I am. That's good. Good for you. That's good. That's a big accomplishment, actually. I mean, it's so tempting just from a convenience standpoint. But if anyone was able to resist that temptation, it would be you. So I think it kind of tracks. It's good. Oh my God, radio playing a cover of Gil Scott-Heron's song. Oh. Oh. Nice. Talked with the Dem Senator's office today about reaching out to Gen Z. Good for you, Tom. That's really cool. That's like in the upper Midwest, right? I think you're in the upper Midwest. I don't want to say exactly where you are. Song of the Wind. Why does that sound so familiar? Why does that sound so familiar? Song of the Wind. I don't have, I really don't. Oh. Oh. Is it okay, am I thinking Sharonee Wade singing it? Oh, is it, I think the version of it I'm thinking of is Santana? Or am I wrong? But let me see if I can, I'm curious about finding. Does that sound, am I right? Caravansary was such a good fucking album. God, that was a good album. I want to get that album. Oh, sorry. Prior to this moment, I've only heard Scott Heron's version. Oh, he's on Democracy Dino. Yeah, he's hanging out over at Democracy Dino, giving us a boost on the algo. It's a boost in the algo. Boost that algo. I want to find that version. Wait, the Sharonee Wade. Hi, Tom waves at screen. It's funny. Sharonee. Oh, I didn't spell it wrong. Mm. Oh, I love that song. I see you here, Oomph, via Restream bot. Ooh. Oh, wow. Yeah, I'm gonna have to try and find. I'll find that. That's really nice. Yeah, I love that song. I didn't know. I didn't really connect. I don't know why I didn't connect the. I'm not really good with like song names. I don't think that's the same version as Carlos. I don't know. I love that song. Oh, I'll look it up. I love covers. There are some covers that are so fun, so good that it's unexpected. I really like that. Yeah, Song of X. Song of X. There are so many songs, but I don't know. I seem to not have very good. It may be because some songs share similar names. I don't. Who knows? Mental patterns. There are like 5 Linton Kwesi Johnson songs called Regad Fi that I can never keep straight. Wow. I've got to take a pic. Oh, I don't know how to take a picture on this. Oh, that's great. I've got that bookmarked. Listen to that after the stream. I'm gonna listen to it after the stream. Yeah. Um. Yeah, and then yeah. I don't know. I'm in. Here we go. Algos matter. Algos matter. Algos matter. All right, let's get to it. Dadgummit. Let's get this show on the road. No, wait. Oh, where's the flippin' flipper doodly do? And they called him Flipper. Flipper. Let's see. I kind of want this. Can I? Is there any way? No. Okay, you're not gonna let me do that. Okay, no problem. How long is this book? It seems like it is almost a present. I wonder though, having said that, if it's because it spent less time. Yeah, exactly. That's what I wonder is if it spends more time on present day than it did on just setting the stage, I guess. That's kind of what I was thinking because I was thinking that last night. I'm like, wow, this is like zipping right along because here we are. And we're not halfway done. We're about a third of the way done with the book. Well, of course, that's the entire book. So, anyway, regardless, here we go. All right. Oopsie. We are now in part 2 of Democracy Awakening. Teleportation. A lot happened in the last 10 hours. Okay? No, just kidding. Haha. But I'm not. Welcome, Tom. I'm glad you're here in the lounge. So, first of all, I want to tell you that the good news is that your Thursday is over. It is no longer a day that you need to worry about. It's in the books. And now you can just sit back, lay back, whatever, and close your eyes, maybe. I don't know. Maybe not. I'm not telling you what to do. And just let your body sink deeply as you take a very deep breath. And just let it just fade to the background. And if you fall asleep, you fall asleep. I will never be offended. Well, I might, but Certainly won't. Actually, I'll be so delighted that we accomplished the mission of helping people just decompress. So, whatever outcome is fine with me. No pressure. This book does have historical events and language that is pretty rough, so kind of guard your ears, and it really isn't for children, so I do not recommend for little ears. Democracy Awakening by Heather Cox Richardson. Part 2. The Authoritarian Experiment. Chapter 11. A Snapshot of America. On June 16th, 2015, Donald Trump came down the golden escalator at Trump Tower in New York City to announce his campaign for the U.S. presidency. His campaign came out of reality TV, a genre of television that claimed to be unscripted, but was actually heavily edited to emphasize ruthless competition among people striving for ultimate victory in a closed system. One European critic called such manufactured competition fascist television. It fit well with America's hyper-focus on individualism. Although there had been previous shows purporting to be As It Happened, reality TV broke new ground in the U.S. at the hands of my favorite, producer Mark Burnett, whose enormously popular show Survivor debuted in 2000. In 2004, Burnett launched The Apprentice, a show that pitted aspiring business people against one another for a contract to promote one of Trump's properties. Burnett split the proceeds evenly with its star, Trump himself. The former real estate investor was unprepared and erratic on set and was in deep financial trouble at the time, but the show gave the impression that he was a brilliant and very wealthy businessman, elevating deserving underlings to fame and fortune. It really didn't. I'm just gonna say everybody just thought it was stupid and a joke, and it was like watching a train wreck. But okay. Sorry. The show's producers thought of the show as a joke, but the audience seemed to buy into Trump's image and admire him. At the same time, they appreciated the farce they were watching showed the entire American system to be a game. The first season's finale was the nation's top program the week it aired. By 2015, ratings for The Apprentice were dropping, and Trump took his show to a new stage. His descent down the Trump Tower escalator in June was a scene borrowed directly from the show. He came down to a lobby filled with paid extras, just as he had on the show, although he claimed there were thousands when there were actually dozens. Trump seemed to embody the Republican success story, a famous self-made, self-declared billionaire real estate tycoon with multi-million-dollar properties and a beautiful former model wife. But like that success story, Trump was more image than substance. His father had bankrolled him to the tune of $413 million in today's dollars. His companies had repeatedly declared bankruptcy, and by the 2000s he was, by his own admission, billions of dollars in debt. But Trump was a brilliant salesman who grasped what 35 years of Republican rhetoric and voting distortion had made the party's base voters want far more accurately than the politicians in the Republican establishment who had created them. Establishment Republicans who wanted an end to government regulation of business and taxes had courted racist, sexist, and religious zealots to stay in power, but had no plans actually to give in to extremist demands, which would turn off mainstream voters. Trump stripped the cover off this sleight of hand, offering to give the extremist base a hierarchical world in which they dominated women as well as their black and brown neighbors. Trump married Republican politics to authoritarianism. Speaking simply and with words that packed an emotional punch, he offered those left behind by the Republican Revolution a way to recover a mythological lost world in which they called the shots. And he promised that he, and he alone, could lead the way. America was, quote, in serious trouble. We don't have victories anymore, he said, when he announced his candidacy. Quote, "The U.S. has become a dumping ground for everyone else's problems." Claiming that U.S. unemployment was 21%, the real number was 5.6. He attacked Mexican immigrants as criminals and rapists and warned that China was stealing American jobs while stupid lawmakers permitted it. He promised to make Mexico pay for a Great Wall between the U.S. and Mexico and to build a trade wall between the U.S. and China, blasting Obamacare as amazingly destructive and a disaster. He promised to replace it with something much better and much less expensive. Politicians were controlled by special interests, he added, echoing Republican rhetoric. But he was a truly great leader who would bring back jobs, manufacturing, and the military, and take care of veterans. He would rebuild the country's infrastructure, make sure education stayed local, and reduce the national debt, all while backing the Second Amendment and cheering on the country. Claiming to be worth almost $9 billion and to be sitting at the heart of the American economy, he promised he would make manufacturers and foreign leaders beg for trade deals. Sadly, he said, the American dream is dead, but I will bring it back bigger and better and stronger than ever before. Reusing Reagan's slogan, he promised to make America great again. Years of right-wing media had prepared Trump's audience for his narcissistic vision. He was at the top of a hierarchy that sat above Black Americans, people of color, disabled Americans, and women. To this hierarchical vision, he brought authoritarianism. He was better than other people, the best businessman, the best entertainer, the best politician. Although homegrown, his message dovetailed with rising authoritarianism around the world. In Russia, Vladimir Putin, a former agent of the Soviet State Security Organization, the KGB, had consolidated power among the oligarchs who rose after the fall of the Soviet Union, replacing communist leaders by monopolizing the profits of formerly publicly held industries. Putin and his allies were eager to destroy the liberal democracy that had kept Europe on an even keel since World War II, and had worked to rile up old racial, ethnic, and religious hatred in order to strengthen nationalism based on the myth of a white Christian past. Well, look at who's here. Russian political strategist Alexander Dugin wrote that restoring the power of the ancient Russian Empire depended on destabilizing the American democracy that supported liberal democracies in Europe. He called for provoking, quote, instability and separatism within the borders of the United States, encouraging all kinds of separatism and ethnic, social, and racial conflicts, and supporting isolationist tendencies in American politics. Would that be the same Alexander Dugin that Jim Stewartson speaks of? I think so. Known at the time primarily as a media figure, Stephen K. Bannon, who became the Mr. Three Pens, who became the Trump campaign's chief executive officer in August 2016, agreed that traditional Western civilization was fighting a war for survival. To win, current Western-style civilizations must be completely Look at an actual historian said it, Tom. Oh, isn't... Wow, that crazy historian. To win, current Western-style... True, much better called political strategist, or much better called like Rasputin. That's what I like to call him. To me, he's Rasputin. Because he basically is Rasputin. He set out to dismantle the administrative state that was leveling the playing field among Americans, end immigration to the U.S., and isolate the nation from other Western democratic governments he believed had taken advantage of it. While European neo-fascists mythologized a fantasy medieval world, Bannon and his allies escalated the long-standing anti-liberal rhetoric of Republican talk radio hosts into hard-right paternalism. Rasputin. Oh, yeah, same beard. Under Bannon's direction, right-leaning Breitbart News Network had run articles attacking politically active women and Black Americans, and yet could insist that Bannon was neither sexist nor racist because in their formulation, a return to a traditional society would be best for everyone. This worldview struck a chord with disaffected white Americans who felt as if they had been left behind since the 1980s. They liked the idea of an America cut off from the rest of the world except for its dominance of trade, overseen by a hierarchy in which a few white men managed the government, the economy, and society. It was also a worldview that fit neatly into the thread of American history articulated by American enslavers in the year before the Civil War. They too defended a hierarchical system of paternalism as best for everyone. A worldview that put Christianity at the center was especially appealing to evangelicals. Since the 1960s, a fundamentalist movement in the evangelical churches had clung to the Republican Party. They loved its promise to stop the secular world's recognition of the rights of minorities, women, and most recently, LGBTQ people. Ending access to abortion had become their rallying cry, and Trump promised to end that right, even flirting with the idea of criminal punishment for women seeking abortions. Far from being disqualifying, his denigration of women and minorities personified the sort of traditional hierarchy these fundamentalists craved. Not all Republicans were on board. For all their Democrat bashing to win voters, establishment Republicans did not actually want to dismantle the American state, which stabilized the global economy on which the modern world depended. Going into the presidential primaries, pundits had expected establishment Republican Jeb Bush, son of President George H. W. Bush and brother of President George W. Bush, to pick up the nomination, in part because the Republican contest had been front-loaded with elections in states dominated by low-information voters deemed likely to vote on the basis of name recognition, which usually helped the candidate the establishment favored. But Trump's fame as a television star and his scorched earth strategy of swinging viciously at Bush and his other opponents meant that his name was well enough known to voters that he won half of the delegates awarded on Super Tuesday, March 1st. By the end of May, he appeared to have either clinched the nomination. To calm the horror of establishment Republicans, the Trump campaign brought on board former Indiana Governor Mike Pence, who had deep ties to the business wing of the Republican Party, including the fantastically wealthy and politically active Charles and David Koch, whose libertarian father had backed movement conservatism since the 1950s. At the July Republican convention, Never Trump delegates fought his nomination, only to be outraged at rules changes that gave Trump far more delegates than he had earned. Still, some could be comforted by the 2016 Republican platform, which offered movement conservative Republicans everything they had ever dreamed of. The platform chastised President Barack Obama for, quote, regulating to death a free market economy that he does not like and does not understand, which was manifestly untrue, called for originalist judges who would stop abortion and gay marriage, and insisted on returning federal power to the states. The Trump campaign also took to new levels the party's overlap with foreign authoritarian leaders, especially those in Russia and Saudi Arabia. Not only was his program similar to Russian President Vladimir Putin's, but since 1996, Russians had invested hundreds of millions of dollars in Trump's real estate businesses. By 2008, one of his sons told a reporter that Russians make up a pretty disproportionate cross-section of a lot of our assets. In 2016, Trump was in the midst of trying to get a Trump Tower in Moscow, and in June a number of his campaign advisors, including his key fundraiser and advisor, Thomas Barrack, and his soon-to-be national security advisor, Mikey Flynn, and his son-in-law, Jared Kushner, helped to organize a company, IP3 International, which stood for International Peace, Power, and Prosperity, to export nuclear technology to the Saudis, with nuclear plants built by a joint Russian-US venture. That overlap entered new territory on June 9th, when Donald Trump Jr., Kushner, and political consultant Paul Manafort, who had deep ties to Russia, met in Trump Tower with Russian operatives who offered damaging material on Democratic presidential nominee Hillary Clinton, the former Secretary of State. In exchange, the Russians apparently wanted the U.S. to drop sanctions placed on Russia after its 2014 invasion of Ukraine, and support for a plan to create a Russian allied republic out of the four eastern regions of Ukraine. The new leader would be Manafort's former boss, Viktor Yanukovych. Later that month, Trump replaced his first campaign manager with Manafort, and when the Republican National Convention met in July, Trump requested a last-minute change to the platform that weakened the party's stance against Russia's 2014 invasion of Ukraine. Once he won the Republican nomination, Trump held 232 campaign rallies, raucous affairs in which he attacked the lying media, bashed immigrants, urged supporters to rough up interlopers, and mocked a disabled reporter. He promised to build a wall on the country's southern border to keep out immigrants and to make Mexico pay for it. He catered to evangelical Christians by promising a total and complete shutdown of Muslims entering the United States. Invoking the idea of a great leader taking charge, he promised to drain the swamp of Washington, surrounding himself only with the best and most serious people. Trump's opponent turned out to be a perfect foil. Secretary of State Hillary Clinton was a highly educated, extremely well-qualified candidate who advocated protecting the rights of women and minorities and warned that Trump would pack the Supreme Court with extremists. She provided detailed policy papers. Trump, in turn, harped on an investigation into her alleged misuse of an email server. Using a method that had worked well against female politicians in Ukraine and Belarus, his supporters, led by Flynn, called for her to be arrested. Lock her up became the call and response at his rallies. I'm just going to take a drink. Yeah, and then Saudi exports tech to Mother Russia. When politics is allowed to proceed over national security, I think you're right. I mean, I'm not an expert on the historical situation when it came during the Obama administration, but it really does seem to me that in Syria were some pretty huge, I don't know, terrible situation. Okay, excuse me. Trump in turn harped on an investigation. Oh, okay, sorry. Trump used the same media technique Senator Joseph McCarthy had used in the 1950s when he garnered power by falsely claiming to have discovered that communists had infiltrated the U.S. government, making outrageous statements that reporters felt obliged to cover, but without explaining their content or truthfulness. Oh my goodness. Thus spreading his message. The media ultimately provided Trump about twice the free coverage they gave to Clinton. There's another huge piece of it. The Trump campaign also used social media to undermine his opponent. Bannon was a pioneer in using media to create emotional responses, and in 2014, with the help of funding from Republican mega donors Robert and Rebecca Mercer, he launched Cambridge Analytica, a company designed to develop profiles of individuals that would enable advertisers to group them for targeted advertising. That concept had been around since 1935, when Frank Stanton, who later became head of CBS, pioneered it. But the tools of social media, especially Facebook, enabled advertisers to address audiences with surgical precision. Before the 2016 election, the company captured information from the Facebook profiles of more than 50 million users without their permission or knowledge. Still, all but said the election was Clinton's until FBI Director James Comey made a last-minute announcement that the agency was reopening an investigation into her emails during her time as Secretary of State. Voters in swing states turned against her, and while Trump lost the popular vote by more than 2.8 million, his victories in three key swing states won him the White House by a vote of 306 to 232 in the Electoral College. Trump claimed it was a landslide victory and that he had actually won the popular vote too, if you deduct the millions of people who voted illegally, he said. When the report from the email investigation found that Clinton had committed no significant wrongdoing, questions arose about whether Comey had made the announcement to appease FBI agents who disliked her. Trump's inaugural address echoed what Republican voters had come to believe about America. It was a place of carnage. He described a country with mothers and children trapped in poverty in our inner cities, rusted-out factories scattered like tombstones across the landscape of our nation, an education system flush with cash, but which leaves our young and beautiful students deprived of all knowledge, and the crime of gangs and the drugs that have stolen too many lives and robbed our country of so much unrealized potential. He insisted that other countries were, quote, making our products, stealing our companies, and destroying our jobs. He vowed to put America first. He claimed that his inauguration meant that the country was, quote, not merely transferring power from one administration to another or from one party to another, but transferring power from Washington, D.C., and giving it back to you, the people. The forgotten men and women of our country will be forgotten no longer. Everyone is listening to you now. I will fight for you with every breath in my body, and I will never, ever let you down until I do. That is the end of chapter 11. So we're going to take a minute. Micro-targeted propaganda. Cut the cables. Well, I mean, I think the horse, left Steve Bannon's ass. I think that's done. Unfortunately, I think we have, unfortunately, already done the damage, done the deed. I like the latest short Greg Olear has out, read 1945. Oh, I haven't read that. I mean, I haven't read it yet. I did see it. And a little bit of weed. Just a little weed. I think there is too, Tom. I don't know when. I was reading Marcy. Empty Wheel was really kind of had it with people being critical of, what's his name? Merrick Garland. Dirty Steve. Dirty Steve. Grungy Steve. Steve is the color of my no. Yeah, I don't know. I have to. 3 Pen Steve. Just what tricks are up his sleeve? 3 Pen Steve. Why you meeting with Bolsonaro? Why is Liz Truss? No, that's terrible. I want to do something with, what's the other guy's name? What's the guy from Venezuela? And my quantum spidey senses are tingling. I hope so. Steve Bannon, Roger Stone, Mike Flynn, Stephen Miller. Didn't Stephen Miller or someone design the forced sterilization? Who was responsible for the forced sterilization? Why do we forget about that? Why do we forget about that? I don't know. I mean, did it not happen? And what? Either it did happen or it didn't. Musices. I could do it in German. Something with Mein Kampf. Something that rhymes. What rhymes with Kampf? Pomp. Pomp. Oh, Millet. No, who's the other guy, though? Shit. Kubiak? Who the fuck is his name? Not Nyack? Nyack? Shit. He just spoke at, yeah, Millier, too. Is that how you say it? Is it Millier? Or Millet? Is it Millet? I would imagine it's like Millier. Millier. Millie. Millie. Oh fuck, what's that kid's name? Hold on. CPAC authoritarian. Which one? Siri, tell me about the CPAC authoritarian. Which one? Which one, Lolo? There we go. Well, they certainly go to Victoria, Urban, Orban. God damn. Okay, wait, it's like South America. It's not Venezuela then, huh? Who's the Venezuela guy? You know, it would be. Oh, here we go. No, okay, that's Maduro. What the hell? It's not Venezuela. What's the other one? No, that's Millet. Millet is the one with the chainsaw. Oh man, this is embarrassing. He just was on CPAC speakers Saturday. He was on Saturday. We didn't watch him. I think we missed him. Oh God. Okay. Sorry. Hold on, because this is gonna drive me crazy if I don't know. Okay, Kerry Lake. So Argentine President Javier Milei. Oh, come on. You don't have the other guy? What's the other country? Is it Honduras? That's kind of low. Oh, wait, no. No, not Honduras. Honduras president. No, that's Xiomara Castro. Okay, forget that. That's not her. Okay. Is it Nicaragua? Nope, that's Ortega. Is it? Oh, it's someone who's going to take over Guyana. Who's the guy? Oh, you do? That's good. You need a new computer. Oh, if you do need a new computer. I don't really know this for certain, but I'm just guessing based on some of the technical. And I would donate to that. Oh, because hate all involved activities. Oh, I can imagine. Although the research you can do just alone, so that doesn't involve a lot of, well, maybe the research is kind of a pain in the ass. I understand. Okay, wait, it's not Honduras and it's not Venezuela and it's not Nicaragua. And it's the one next to, it'd be near Guyana. Shit. Country near Guyana. Country near Guyana. Oh, that didn't really. I mean, it must be Venezuela, right? Okay, wait, that's. Oh, I think he was just elected. Oh, maybe it's Colombia? No. the hell? No, it's not Colombia. What? It must be Venezuela. It's not. I thought Maduro was dead. I thought Maduro was dead. Why did I think? Okay, I guess I'm just like. I guess I'm clearly wrong. Maybe he's the vice president. Okay, I'm sorry. I'll find it. Best speed and storage under 400. Wow. Can't afford a Ryzen 7. Yeah. What about an i7 Intel? What about cuz like an i7 or would be pretty good. First program going on is DaVinci. I don't think you'll be disappointed. I hope not anyway. If you are, get rid of it. Um yeah, I think an i7 is pretty good. I mean, it should be fast enough. And the Ryzen, what about a Ryzen? Isn't there a 5? Isn't there a Ryzen 5? I think there's a Ryzen 5. That's pretty fast. I'm trying to think because I have been looking at computers. I'm trying to think of where I saw some good deals. It might have been B&H. B&H Photo. I don't know if you've ever used them. They're in New York, but they're huge. They're huge. Looked at HP Direct and Best Buy, found a similar on Amazon. Yep, that's good. Oh, you know what I have heard really good things about is the ASUS laptops. Oh, it's a Ryzen 5. That's good. That's good. That'll be very good, Tom. Um, the ASUS, there's some pretty good machines. The ones I've been looking at. So, a lot of choices. There's so many choices. There's too many choices. Let me see. Do I have enough? I think I'm going to get one more drink before I start the next chapter. So forgive me for leaving you for just a second. Oh, I'll put on some music while I go, though. Hold on. Okay. Well, no, I won't. I'll put on. I don't. Why isn't this doing this? Oh, I see. I wonder. I can move it? No, I can't move it. Okay. Burn, 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 burn. It's interesting. I guess I wonder if you guys can even hear that. Okay, BRB. It has an 11-hour battery. That's fantastic. I do expect a computer in the mail, but it's not yours. I'm sure it's none of my business. Never mind. You're just getting random computers. You know what? It's good. It's good to help. It's good to get those computers. Um, HP's not bad. I don't think HPs are bad, right? I really think a lot of them are very similar now, right? Maybe not. I don't know. I have to check everything with my child. She's she knows more about it than I do. Okay, I'm gonna go get a drink and I'll BRB. And I don't have any music for you. I'm so very sorry. Yes, variability in gigs. Yes. I will say this. I personally would go for a terabyte because you can get it. And if you can, 32 gigs of RAM. I would try and get above 16 gigs of RAM. That's just me. Okay, BRB. Okay, sorry about that. Sorry about that. Okay, here we go. Let's see, where were we? Pretty good. Yeah, I've had good experiences with refurbished. I agree with that. I agree with that. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I think they can. I really do. I think they're making them, a little more. No, the terabyte is the storage. Memory is, I was recommending 32 gigabytes or higher for the RAM, but the terabyte is just storage. I don't know. I don't want to have to bother because I have so many right? Like music files, movies, stuff like that. And I don't even keep like everything. I make sure I like clean it out pretty often. But yeah, 32 gigabytes RAM. Yeah, that's memory. Random access memory. Isn't that right? Am I wrong? Oh, wait. Oh, I guess that's memory. Well, the terabyte is the hard drive, storage hard drive. Does that make sense? I luckily have an old school computer tech store local that can give me advice, save stuff off of old machine, and then destroy my old hard drive. Oh, that's really great. That's so great. Does that make sense though? Of storage of a terabyte and then the RAM is, I guess they're both memory. Well, I mean, is it memory or is it just storage? Well, actually, yeah, I guess that's memory. Long-term memory or short-term memory? I like to have a terabyte of long-term memory and at least 32 gigabytes of short-term memory. And I like to have a really fast processor. And I also like to have well, the other thing, Tom, though, is you can get an external hard drive. So technically, as long as the memory is expandable, like with a external hard drive, you're fine. You don't really need, you know what I mean? You don't need that much storage. But what was I going to say? Oh, the other thing that Bobo told me was well, first of all, the refresh rate. Yeah, if the connections are right. Yeah, hello. That's been an issue for me. Um, the refresh rate being like, I think the standard is what, 160 gigahertz or no, wait, maybe it's less. I think that's a TV. Like 30 hertz or something. I don't know. But like that. So I look at refresh rate for the picture. And then they have this new number that is like an FTX or a GTX number. And it's like 3060 or 4070. This one has a removable USB drive and SSD. That's good. Solid state drive. That's good. Yeah, it's a video spec. Because I wanted something that could handle. I want to look for something that can handle like quick action. Doesn't have to be super quick, but you know what I mean. Just like make sure that there's some. I don't know. I think it's more about gaming though. Um, but yeah. It's a video spec. I'll have to find out. I can't remember what it was. Maybe it's right. I had some notes here, but anyway, I'll find them. But I'm trying to make sure if I get a little laptop, I want to get something that just has a lot of that is fast and can handle like a CPU, like a heavy load on the processor. I guess that's just processor, but I know. Yay, computer sidebars. I know. 2000. Oh, I'm really trying to just like Frankenstein my way through it, but I don't know. It'll take me like a month or so to even think about it. But anyway. Oh yeah, I love computer sidebars. They're awesome. Okay. But I am here to educate you. Let me entertain you. Let me make you, well, not so much smile, because I don't really find that this is a very smiley book. Yeah, I just want to support 20 simultaneous YouTube screens while editing video and recording sound, writing music, and helping children with their homework. I just want to do all of those things at once. Oh, and I want to be actively modding all of those streams at once. So I need multiple monitors. And yes, that's it. You're going to become Doc Ock. Doc Ock of modding. Doc Ock mod. Doc Ock. No, I'm just kidding. Never mind. Okay, here we go. We're going to do another chapter. Stop trying to talk me out of it. No, I'm just kidding. All right, chapter 12. A shocking event. That was some weird shit, former President George W. Bush remarked at the end of Trump's inaugural address. Trump's election to the White House signaled a sea change in American history. Since the 1950s, movement conservatives had called for destroying the active government of the liberal consensus, and since the 1980s, the Republican politicians had hacked away at it but had left much of the government intact. In 2016, the nation had finally, wittingly or not, put into office a president who would use his power to destroy it. Trump's agenda was not popular with the majority of American voters who had backed Hillary Clinton. It was not even popular with all Republicans. While Republican leaders had spread the false narrative of socialists taking over the country and suppressed votes to stay in power, they were more interested in establishing the kind of oligarchy that had run the country in the 1850s, 1890s, and 1920s than in dismantling the government. Republicans had been ramping up the rhetorical techniques of dividing the country and demonizing their opponents since the 1960s, but they did not want an apocalypse. They wanted an end to business regulation and social services and the taxes they required. Trump had risen to the presidency thanks to their machinations, but he went far beyond them, making the leap from oligarchy to authoritarianism. He welded his followers into a movement based on the system of lies and cruelty that scholars of authoritarianism had identified after World War II. And just as they had warned, he turned previously apathetic people into ferocious partisans. They believed they were part of a heroic mission to return the nation to what he told them were its true rules and patterns, established by God and history. Trump's drive toward authoritarianism became clear immediately when he insisted, contrary to all evidence, that his inaugural crowd was bigger than former President Barack Obama's. This was no innocent inflation of an unimportant statistic. On the most basic level, it was an amplification of officials' critique of the reality-based community during the George W. Bush administration, offering a flat-out lie on its face, knowing the press would cover it. Indeed, incredulous reporters spent significant time pushing back on the statements from Trump's White House press secretary, Sean Spicer, who issued a number of easily disprovable statements that culminated in his insistence that, quote, this was the largest audience to ever witness an inauguration, period, both in person and around the globe. But it was clearly not. 2 days later, it became clear that the lie was not just about getting airtime. On NBC's Meet the Press, host Chuck Todd asked Trump advisor Kellyanne Conway, quote, what was the motive to have this ridiculous litigation of crowd size? She answered, quote, your job is not to call things ridiculous that are said by our press secretary and our president. That's not your job. When Todd pressed her to answer, she finally said, I'll answer it this way. Think about what you just said to your viewers. That's why we feel compelled to go out and clear the air and put alternative facts out there. The idea of alternative facts revealed that this seemingly stupid lie about crowd size was not only a way to get media coverage, but also an important demonstration of dominance. While Republicans previously had based their policy arguments, however tenuously, on some kernel of reality, as when they argued that abortion caused breast cancer because breastfeeding offers some protection against cancer, but abortion means no baby to breastfeed. Trump straight up lied, and he demanded that his loyalists parrot his lies. This rhetorical strategy, called gaslighting, takes its name from a 1944 Ingrid Bergman film, Gaslight, in which a husband tries to convince his wife she's crazy by manipulating the lights in the house and insisting that what she is experiencing is not, in fact, real. As she becomes more and more disoriented, he isolates her from others with the plan of declaring her insane and gaining control of her considerable fortune. Gaslighting forces subordinates to agree that the person in charge gets to determine what reality is. Victims must surrender either their integrity or their ownership of their own perceptions. In either case, having once agreed to a deliberate lie, it becomes harder to challenge later ones because that means acknowledging the other times they caved. When criminal enterprises uses this technique, it's blackmail. Someone makes a friend, and eventually the friend asks for help with a little something that's a little over the line, but not too far. And once the person has gone along with that first transgression, it's extraordinarily hard to get free. As mob boss Michael Corleone put it when trying to rehabilitate his reputation, in perhaps the most memorable line from The Godfather Part 3, just when I thought I was out, they pull me back in. Not true. Gaslighting, everybody knows, originates from telling people they didn't see UFO but small gas. Ethanol. No. Even for those unconvinced by Trump's assertions, this reiteration of lies in the face of evidence did something else. It flooded the zone with shit, as Trump's advisor Steve Bannon put it. Keeping listeners constantly trying to defend what is real from what is not destroys their ability to make sense of the world. Many people turn to a strongman who promises to create order. Others will get so exhausted they simply give up. As a scholar of totalitarianism, Hannah Arendt noted, authoritarians use this technique to destabilize a population. And I'm just going to say it because I listen to a lot of chuds, like women chuds recently. They are scared. Like fear is a big thing for them. It's a big factor. Um, they have an anxiety about the world that is just fervent and unrealistic and hysterical, and not in the funny way. I mean, in the hysteria way. So it's working. So there. Trump's lies demonstrated his dominance. At the same time, oh, wait. Oh, here we go. At the same time, they fear and disgust. Thank you. They sucked the air out of the room for Americans who were trying to produce a true picture of what was really happening. Russian-American journalist Julia Ioffe, who had chronicled Putin's takeover of Russia, noted that the only people who were fully prepared to cover the Trump presidency properly were people who knew how authoritarian regimes worked. The Washington press corps, which treats politics as something between a baseball game and a Broadway show, was woefully unprepared. Focus on the size of the crowd also meant that Trump got to define the public conversation, just as Senator Joseph McCarthy had done during his anti-communist witch hunt in the 1950s. It was not a coincidence that McCarthy and Trump had shared a legal advisor, Roy Cohn, who designed the kind of approach they took. While journalists were busy disputing Spicer's figures that said more people used the D.C. Metro on Trump's inauguration day than on Obama's, they had little oxygen left over for the actual numbers of people using the D.C. Metro on the day after Trump's inauguration to attend the Women's March. The largest single-day demonstration in world history, the Women's March drew Metro ridership second only to that for Obama's inauguration. Women who had watched their rights erode under the cowboy ideology of the Republicans since the 1980s not only recognized the psychological technique of gaslighting, they recognized Trump's election as deadly dangerous to their rights and to the nation. Wearing pink pussy hats, simple hand-knit hats with points that looked like cat ears, they turned Trump's boasting about his sexual assaults, in which he had used the vulgar word, into a symbol of empowerment. The impulse to march came from a diverse group of activists and those unaccustomed to activism, all concerned about the direction of the country under Trump. Their concerns seem realized just a week later, when Trump continued the process of destabilizing the government to push an authoritarian agenda. At 4:42 p.m. on January 27th, the administration announced a travel ban on people coming from primarily Muslim countries. Executive Order 13769 stopped travel from Iran, Iraq, Libya, Somalia, Sudan, Syria, and Yemen for 90 days. The list of countries appeared random. Saudi Arabia, Pakistan, and Afghanistan, countries from which terrorists have sometimes come directly to the U.S., weren't on the list, and appeared to fulfill a campaign promise to assert a new view of executive power. It also stopped the admission of refugees for 120 days and suspended the Syrian refugee program. The chief architects of the plan were Stephen Miller and Stephen Bannon. My two Steves, Trump called them. Both were hard-line, right-wing, anti-immigrant fighters that Trump would elevate over the establishment Republicans brought on board to calm party leaders. He even put Bannon over the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff and the director of national intelligence on the National Security Council. With the executive order, which Trump's advisers did not discuss with the Office of Legal Counsel, Trump indicated his intention to throw the country into chaos. Acting Attorney General Sally Yates refused to defend the ban, saying, "My responsibility is to ensure that the position of the Department of Justice is not only legally defensible, but is informed by our best view of what the law is after consideration of all the facts. In addition, I am responsible for ensuring that the positions we take in court remain consistent with this institution's solemn obligation to always seek justice and stand for what is right." Trump promptly fired her, by letter, for refusing to enforce a legal order designed to protect citizens of the United States. A White House statement said falsely that the order was approved as to form and legality by the Office of Legal Counsel. It called Yates an Obama administration appointee who was weak on borders and very weak on illegal immigration, and said, "It is time to get serious about protecting our country." Trump's sudden order created a crush of people at the airports and made it seem like Trump was right that the country was in chaos with traditional power structures breaking down, the very conditions that scholars of authoritarianism identified as ones that convince people to turn to a strong man to provide clarity and protection. What no one outside the government knew was that Miller and his allies within the administration were already at work on a different immigration policy, separating children of refugees at the southern border from their parents. When career officials in the government protested that such an attack on American law and fundamental human rights was outrageous, the extremists in the administration simply excluded them from the planning sessions. They also overrode the process in which staffers prepared papers based on extensive studies, then ran policies past managers who had a broader perspective in a number of areas, and finally went to political appointees to make sure the proposed policy met political goals. Determined to enforce their vision of a hierarchical white Christian America, Miller and his allies simply worked around existing laws and officials until they found compliant ones. Increasingly, establishment Republicans who opposed Trump and his policies were excluded from his White House, leaving a vacuum filled by less talented people who would not have had as much authority in a normal administration. They were willing to sign off on a policy that dehumanized the weakest members of society, immigrant children, a crucial step in the larger process of dehumanization that underlies an authoritarian's concentration of power. But for all that the Trump loyalists in the White House were creating chaos to destroy democracy, the American people were waking up to the administration's attack on American principles. Led by attorney and refugee activist Becca Heller, lawyers around the country sprang to the defense of the law and the refugees caught in the sudden ban, sometimes literally in mid-flight to the U.S. Oh, I had some friends that work for the ACLU that did that, and some people in private practice. I love them. At the Women's March, activist Gloria Steinem, who had been central to the women's movement in the 1970s, said, "We are here and around the world for a deep democracy that says we will not be quiet, we will not be controlled, we will work for a world in which all countries are connected. God may be in the details, but the goddess is in connections. We are at one with each other. We are looking at each other, not up. No more asking daddy. We are linked," she said. "We are not ranked." That's right, Gloria. I'm that is actually the end of chapter 12. And guess what chapter 13's title is? It's Russia, Russia, Russia. Marsha, Marsha, Marsha. That was nice. I mean, not nice because it's not a great subject matter, but it feels good to read and be in learning mode. Marsha, Marsha, Marsha. There's no George Glass at our school. His name is George. George Glass. There's no George Glass at our school. Sorry, that's like a little reflex. The reflex is the something something. Something 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 something. Well, oh my goodness, thank you so much. I'm so glad we had this time together. Seems we just get started, and before you know it, comes the time we have to say so long. But not for long, because gall dang it, I'm going to be here in what, T minus 10 hours. And I can't wait. So I hope you'll join me tomorrow morning. And if you can't, I hope you have a wonderful Friday. Either way, actually, even if you can join me, I also hope. Oh, wonderful. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Oh, you DM'd it? Oh, you didn't text it. But didn't read yet because middle. Oh, yeah, 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 yeah. No, no problem. Which other? Oh, I'm curious to see who you're working, what else you're reading of. Brr, 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 brr. Did you DM it on Twitter? Well, it doesn't matter. I'll find it. That's wonderful. I'm looking for a video from Richard Clark. Yeah, I remember that. Who worked in Bush 2 administration. When I find, I'll email. I remember Richard Clark. I'll have to do that. I'll have to. I'll look for that, Tom. I'm getting better. I'm getting better. I'm getting. Oh, thank you. Yeah, great. No problem. That's awesome. Thank you. Thank you. Um, and yeah, no. Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. They're good. There's some good documents out there. That's for sure, Z's. Yeah, I gotta read the transcript. I'm gonna start that. I'm gonna start that probably tomorrow morning while we're watching Georgia. I don't know. I don't think I can multitask that well. It doesn't matter. Anyway, thanks again for coming. Have a wonderful, wonderful evening. I hope you have the most wonderful dreams. I do not. I don't think I downloaded it yet. Arg. Yeah, I don't think I didn't download it yet. I saw the link, but I didn't download it. So if you have it, that's great. If you don't, no worries. I'll find it. It won't be a big deal. Super easy. Super easy. I'm getting sick of all the people that don't put links in their posts. Okay, anyway, that's another call. Okay. Another call, another stream. Thanks and have a great night. Goodbye to everyone on Twitter. Good night to maybe anybody who happens to be on Democracy Dino. Well, there should be 6 people watching, so you never know. All right. I'll see y'all tomorrow morning. Good night. Bum, bum.